Hello and welcome to Who It Could Have Been, where every week we take a look at a famous actor or actress who was up for a big role, but for one reason or another, they didn't quite get it. Would they be worse, better, or just plain weird? Now, when it comes to casting, the casting of Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings, it was practically ideal. And I can think of a better actor to play Gandalf the Grey or White. Spoilers, I guess, right. Maybe, as Ian McKellen. But did you know that after the death of Richard Harris, Ian McKellen was offered the role of Dumbledore for the Harry Potter films?
It would have been completely different. So Ian McKellen, had he been Dumbledore from the jump, I would have been totally fine with it. But I feel like his portrayal, he wouldn't have been playing Dumbledore naturally. He would have been trying to do as best of an imitation of what the first Dumbledore did so that it didn't seem to be an obvious switch. You know what I'm saying? I feel like he would have been hamstrung a little bit.
Well, Michael Gambon, who took over from Richard Harris, who self-proclaimed, if I'm remembering correctly, was not never read the books. He was watching the series. It's almost startling how different he was from Richard Harris. He came in and made it his own. Continuity wasn't the biggest strength between that transition, but at least it wasn't somebody trying to imitate Richard Harris. It was probably the smartest way to go. My biggest issue, I think Ian McKellen would have blown away the role. I think he would have made it his own, but it would have been, I could buy him being the Richard Harris Dumbledore just by the look and presentation alone. But I don't think I would ever see him as something other than Gandalf.
Yeah, I mean, because he knows magic. So yeah, I mean, he just came on over to Hogwarts to hold it down with Harry P.
His last words to Snape before he gets, off would be, "Fly, you fools." He has a very, very similar look too. Bushy white beard, etc., etc. He kind of has that winking, Riddle-like personality. The characters, I mean, they have their differences, but the similarities are quite strong.
Dumbledore's got a little bit more style.
But you can't deny Dumbledore's got style.
Than Gandalf. So I mean, I remember a couple times looking at Dumbledore and seeing a little bling hanging in his mane. So that would have been the only difference.
According to Ian McKellen, and this is a quote that I found on ET Online, when they called me up and said, would I be interested in being in the Harry Potter films, they didn't say in what part. McKellen recounted in a recent interview with the BBC, I worked out what they were thinking, and I couldn't. I couldn't take over the part from an actor who I'd known didn't approve of me. And the article goes on to say that the late Richard Harris had at one point scolded McKellen for being technically brilliant but passionless. So he didn't want to take over from...
What?
Yeah, he didn't want to take over from an actor who wouldn't have approved of him being the replacement. I would have voted Peter O'Toole, honestly. I thought Peter O'Toole would have been a great Dumbledore, and he and Richard Harris were actually friends, so...
We need to put those... if you haven't done it already, now let's do it. Dumbledore and Gandalf side by side, because I'm not even gonna lie. When I first saw Harry P, I honestly was, is that Magneto? Is Magneto Dumbledore? Is it, like, the thought passed my mind, man. I'm not even gonna lie to you, bro. Like, I was confused for a second.
Well, one of the very first episodes we did of Who It Could Have Been was Sean Connery playing Gandalf. He turned it down. Connery turned down the part because he couldn't understand the script, or so sources say.
I'm trying. It would have been completely different. Completely different.
Fly, you fools! I can't do that in a Sean Connery accent. As he's falling down the chasm, I said shaken, not stirred.
Welcome to the Shire.
Yes, all right.
See, he's too smooth.
He is smooth. He's a smooth bastard. That might be the... But no, I mean, he's done... Connery does have terrific range. It's just that I think the roles that most people remember from him, at least from his mainstream popcorn films, that's the image that people have in their head of Sean Connery. When you look at his collection of work and you compare some of his performances in films such as The Hill or The Untouchables or so forth, you see a bigger variation of what he could accomplish. I can see him playing. I can see the transition even of how Connery would play Gandalf the Grey versus Gandalf the White. Gandalf the White will be, you'd get the smoother Connery probably in that.
Yeah, and I would be totally cool with that.